Objective. After listening to this module, you'll be able to describe the Yerkes-Dodson principle, the idea that too much as well as too little stress is undesirable and unhealthy. The Yerkes-Dodson principle. Did you know that studies have shown that you lose about a half a pound of muscle every year after the age of 25 if you're not adequately using your muscles? Did you know that when you lift weights, microscopic tears actually occur in your muscles? Did you know that increased muscular strength doesn't occur as you're lifting weights? It occurs during your rest periods or your day off from lifting weights. So stress can be compared to our muscles. In order to increase physical strength, it's necessary to stress the muscles. Lifting weights can stress muscles and cause microscopic tears in the muscles. These microscopic tears are good because it's the building back up from these tears that result in increased physical strength. So too it is with stress. Experiencing and dealing with stressors can cause microscopic tears in our emotional health and stamina. But learning to recover and build ourselves back from stressful experiences results in increased emotional strength. But if the muscle is stressed too much or you lift too much weight and too often, your muscles can be torn down too much and your body doesn't have a chance to build back the muscles. In other words, if you lift too much weight and you don't give your muscles a day off and have enough recovery time between workouts, your muscles don't have time to rebuild themselves before you tear them again. So too it is with stress. If you're dealing with too much stress and are hit with numerous stressors all at once, and you don't have enough of a break between those stressors, you might not have a chance to recover or deal with the stress effectively. And what was eustress may turn into distress and negatively affect your emotional and physical health. On the other hand, if you don't sufficiently stress the muscles or you don't lift enough weight, you won't develop your physical strength. You can work out all you want, but if the weight is too light and it's too easy, you're not doing any good. A muscle that is never stressed or not stressed enough will quickly atrophy or deteriorate, especially after the age of 25. The muscle must be stressed enough to create microscopic tears so that the body can rebuild the muscle, which again will result in increased physical strength. So too it is with stress. The challenges and trials we face serve as the weight we lift in order to strengthen our ability to handle stress, or I guess you could say our emotional strength. If we're never faced with emotional stress, we will never have opportunities to strengthen our coping capabilities and develop the capacity to effectively handle stress. So the next time you encounter a stressful situation, think this is your opportunity to quote-unquote work out and increase your emotional strength. This muscle analogy illustrates the concept of the Yerkes-Dodson principle, also known as the theory of arousal motivation. Based on the Yerkes-Dodson principle, too little stress as well as too much stress is unhealthy. In other words, there's an optimal amount of stress that's correlated with an optimal level of both health and performance. Again, athletes perform better when they feel some degree of stress or when they're psyched up to an extent prior to a competition. Their performance is below par when they're not psyched up enough or when they're psyched up too much. It's thought that the same is true for non-athletes. In other words, we perform our daily tasks better when we have some stress in our life. So when we wake up each morning, it's actually good to have a to-do list that's not completely empty, but not super full either. Have you noticed that you're not as productive when you have too much time on your hands? On the flip side, have you noticed that you're not as productive when you have too much to do because you feel paralyzed or overwhelmed, so you don't do anything because you don't know where to start? In addition to our productivity or performance in general, our health is affected when we have too little stress, just as it is by having too much stress. In fact, the same health problems associated with having too much stress, believe it or not, can also occur when we don't have enough stress or stimuli in our lives. So there's an optimal level of stress that correlates with an optimal level of performance and health. But what is that optimal amount? We're all different in terms of our ability to handle stress. Do you know people who can't handle a lot of stress? They stress out at the drop of a dime. On the flip side, can you think of people you know who never seem to stress about anything? Again, what's optimal stress for one person may be too much or too little for another. Learning to find and maintain that optimal level of stress for yourself throughout your life is critical to leading a happy, healthy, productive life. Key points. Too much stress negatively affects our health and performance, but too little stress negatively affects our health and performance too. There's an optimal amount of stress that's correlated with an optimal amount of health and performance, and that's it.